Dear Elijah and Elena, and also to my fellow fathers, because this will be about disciplining your child or children. Um, I was working earlier, and where I work, you can kind of see out into the parking lot, and you can, so I can kind of see what's going on whenever a person's going to come into the place where I work. And I'm not sure if I'll ever forget it, but I saw the person getting out of the car, and it was a mother. I'm guessing it was a mother. She got out of the car, and her child got out of the car. The child was clearly being emotional, crying, weeping, tears all down the face, red in the face, everything. And the mother, or who I'm guessing was the mother, was hugging him, and patting him on the head and all that kind of stuff. They came into the place where I worked, got what they were trying to get, and when they crossed my path, I asked her, I says, is everything all right with your child? And she said, I thought it was kind of funny. She said something to the effect of, he just need to get checked. And I was like, oh, okay. She said, yeah, she said, because if you don't check them now, Department of Corrections will be checking them later, or something to that effect. If I don't take care of him now, Department of Corrections will be taking care of him later. I remember thinking like, so when she said that, I was like, you know what? You go, sister. Because that's one of those things I think that I've seen a lot of parents. I've been a teacher once upon a time in my life, and I saw a lot of parents that I was just shocked that they were almost in fear of disciplining their child. The child or their children got emotional with them, and they yelled and screamed, whatever. And I remember telling parents, like, little Johnny is not doing what he's supposed to be doing in the classroom, and their reaction was, well, we just don't know what to do with him at home. I'm thinking, what? Why would you not know what to do with your own child at home? Now, yes, it is possible that there are some children in the world that are born with certain mental health issues, emotional health, whatever. So, the parent might really not know what to do. That is quite possible, right? They don't know the resources they could use. They hadn't thought about counseling instead of just automatically putting the kid on medicine or whatever. However, regardless, as a parent, the one thing I kind of got from my father and my mother's basically was the importance of raising your child like from the word go, right? So the first, I think it's 4 or 5 years were critical as far as, raising your child up, reading to them, making sure they're not in front of electronics all day, giving them discipline, make sure they get enough sleep, feeding them, healthy food, not just McDonald's or some fast food all the time or whatever, and a list of stuff. But really, really being an intentional parent those first 4 or 5 years, really, being intentional to them, making sure that they're healthy, because it would show up later on. And it showed whenever I would deal with these parents later on, because they would many times say they didn't know what to do. And it was like, well, that makes sense, because if you hadn't done anything in the past, then you wouldn't know what to do now. You wouldn't know what to do with little Johnny when he's a teenager. And by the time he's a teenager and you hadn't corrected him or checked him as this mother was doing, now you're going to have a serious problem later on. And I just remember thinking that was such a good point, because I have read stories and some articles and things of that nature about how many, especially males, have ended up in prison especially because the lack of a father in the home, but God forbid the lack of both parents, even when the parents are alive, right, and not really making a difference in their child's home, right? Now that's not to say that just because you didn't have your father in your life, that you're going to end up in prison. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that many times that is very, very important and very key for a child to grow up and be disciplined and do what they're supposed to. Because another thing she said to me that I thought was very, very poignant too was, you're going to learn to respect authority either now or later. And I remember thinking like, go ahead, sister, right? Because it's true. Because a lot of people in life think they're going to be able to just do what they want to, when they want to, and how they want to do it. Now, if you plan on living in the woods by yourself the rest of your life, yeah, I'm sure. But the thing is that you're going to have to learn to respect authority. There's always going to be somebody in authority over you in many cases, and probably even most cases, some way, shape, or form, right? When you're younger, it's your parents. When you get older, teachers. When you get even older, a boss, police on the road, what have you. Learn to respect authority, because they're going to be there. It's like death and taxes. You're sure to have death, you're sure to have taxes, and you're sure to have authority. So you better learn to check yourself, okay? Or somebody's going to check you for you. Something to think about.